Hello, everybody. This is Tamara Hergert with Empowered Artist Community. And today I am so glad to have Jess Phoenix with me. And we'll be talking about all kinds of things related to pattern design, brand deals, and collaborations. Okay, so what is your best advice for anyone who would like to get into pattern design?
So, yeah, when you had this question, I was thinking about it already. And the main, I'd say, I don't know how helpful this is, but the main takeaway that I have is you got to love making patterns. Like, seriously, like, love it beyond just, am I going to make money with this?
Yes.
I feel like it has to be something that feeds you and fuels your creativity. Otherwise, like, I don't know. It's not easy to get out there and, be a surface
Hmm.
pattern designer and immediately make income and, licensing. I know there's a lot of things these days that really kind of hammer into people like, hey, you can have a successful licensing business
Hmm.
so quickly, so easily. And I feel like that is just not the focus that it should be. I mean, of course, like
Hmm.
people want to be paid for their art and they want to feel like their art is legitimate.
Hmm.
Um, by brands or other people wanting to produce things with it. But ultimately, you got to love making those patterns and always be looking for patterns that you love from
Hmm.
others and being
Yeah.
inspired. Like, I just always love making patterns. Like, as soon as I figured it out, which I did a horrible job at the beginning. Like, I feel like the art was nice, but
Hmm.
then, and I'm talking about the pattern making itself. Like,
Yeah.
I would, design something in this little cluster, and then I would just go, ooh, I'll move it over here, and then fill it in,
Huh?
and then try to fit it all in the end. Like, I started talking with a fabric company years
Huh?
ago. We didn't end up working together, but it was getting close. And she's like, okay, so tell me when we do work together, you're going to have to do your own color separations. And also are you designing on a grid? And I'm like, nope, I don't
Yeah.
know any of that. And
Yes.
it made me feel very I feel a little silly.
Yeah.
I didn't do any of the stuff where it's like, oh yeah, you have the square and then you can take this part of the square and then bring it down and then cut them out and fill in the rest. I wasn't doing that. So now I've learned my lesson. I still say I'm a little more funky. Not
Yeah.
everything isn't always a square. Sometimes the tile ends up being a
Uh-huh.
rectangle, but it's still tileable.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that that's such a big part of also loving patterns is thinking
Hmm.
about the repeat. That's something that
Yes.
people need to pay attention to your repeats, people. Like, I have a huge file. I mean, it's not there's not a lot in it, but it's just a very large file that when I'm testing things,
Hmm.
I'll cut it out, put it in my file that's called tile tester, and then I repeat it out. Cause I don't know. I probably do things really silly. Like, as far as Photoshop, like,
Huh?
I'm sure if we all saw how everybody's doing Photoshop, you'd be like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. And also you're still doing things that way.
Yeah.
But I wanting to get a sense of how does this pattern look overall?
Mm.
And I used to really love those and I still do, the ones where it's just like, "Oh, where's the repeat?" You can't tell, it's just lush and there's so
Yeah.
much going on, and, yeah, that's still one of the biggest thrills to me is getting
Hmm.
to create a pattern that's just really full of flowers, full of different shapes and movement, and
Yeah.
yeah, you gotta want it. You gotta wanna see it and not just produced
Hmm.
someday. That would be lovely, but yeah, that's my main advice.
Do you have like a favorite book or books that you would like absolutely recommend in terms of like pattern design and just overall design that have been very helpful to you, or like some online classes you took recently that like absolutely blew your mind?
So, I wish I knew this off the top of my head, but there was I think it was a Skillshare class that I took years ago that taught me about, not so much the making of the patterns and designing them, but more the color separation, which
Hmm.
not all companies require that. But I found that when that one company was just like, "Oh, you don't know how to do that?" She kinda made me feel like
Yeah.
a little dumb. And so I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, okay, maybe I should figure out how to do that." And I
Yeah.
learned, and that has been, like, very helpful because now I feel like that was something that I did have to do when I started working with Paintbrush Studios to do my first,
Mhm.
fabric collection. They were like,
Yeah.
"Okay, so now you do the color separations." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I could do some research and
Mhm.
find that person,
Yeah.
and send it to you, so that's our
Thank
reference.
you.
She's in the UK, and I don't know. It was just so lovely, like, it really helped me. It demystified it.
Yeah.
But as far as, like, I don't know, the structure of patterns, I didn't really there's no books, there's no real classes or things that I took to try to learn it. I think it's just, like, looking at other patterns, and I would sometimes take a pattern that I really liked of someone else's, and I would study the structure of it. You can
Mhm.
sometimes, like, draw, like, a skeleton line of, like, "Oh, so it
Yes.
goes like this, and it goes like this," and, and when you get that, like, skeleton structure, then you can kinda, like, fill it with your own art. And
Mhm.
it's not the same pattern. It's definitely not the same pattern, but it
Yes.
has like some of those, it demystifies how things can fit together. And some patterns are not just a standard square. Sometimes it's like the drop repeat,
Yeah.
which that's fun too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's basically the composition and the rhythm of the pattern, right?
Yes.
Basically, it can be like sort of symmetrical or completely symmetrical or asymmetrical. And part of my love and affection for patterns and design and just overall like digital design or hand-drawn design, it's the freedom. Okay, well, it's just gonna splash all
Mm-hmm.
over the page, and it's gonna end up like here and there and there, and then it's gonna look beautiful anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you do your designs mostly digitally or do you hand draw stuff?
Both. Everything I do starts out like usually, yeah, paper and pencil, just kind of sketching out
Uh-huh.
ideas. And then I will sometimes like bring a sketch into the computer to kind of like make sure, okay, is everything going to be working out right? And then when I
Yeah.
realize like, okay, yeah, I think that framework is all right, I'll print out that and then
Yeah.
take tracing paper and draw out all the little leaves and petals and
Uh-huh.
things and then scan that, bring it into Photoshop, color it, compose it. Because the markers that I use, I'll just use like one red marker to draw
Yeah.
everything
Wow.
because I just want the texture of it.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, I could probably just do a lot of this on an iPad or something. And I think the iPad is super helpful, with lots of things.
Yeah.
But there's something about I like having those hand-drawn
Mm-hmm.
elements that are, like, fully me,
Yeah.
and, yeah, so yeah. And then it gives me full control, like because then in Photoshop, I can do all the different colorways. I do a lot of, like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, what do you guys like?" This or that, and I don't have to be locked into one color because of how I painted something, and,
Yes.
I just really love playing with color. I love the control it gives me
Yeah.
in the digital sense. But yeah, I don't know. I have had people comment that like, "Oh, something about your work, it's not just the colors that you use. There's something
Mm-hmm.
else." And I feel like that something else is the hand done element.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah. And I mean, I think it's also just it's really helpful when working with clients to be able
Yeah.
to have something that, you can edit
Yeah.
because
You know,
editing's a big part of working with
yes,
people.
exactly. You know, when I just started out like working with clients. I did most of the sketching and like renderings by hand. And it took me like 2 weeks to create my first one for like a really big project. And I thought, I hope they don't ask for any edits
Yeah.
because it's gonna take me another week to or two to like even shift anything. And it looks so beautiful already that I really don't want. And I will be really mad at them if they requested the edits. And that um, made me realize that I need to do it digitally. And
Oh yeah.
so my next project was even larger, and I made the entire thing. Like I don't even remember what software I used, but basically it was on the computer, and I kind of just like tweaked the lines and kind of drew it there. And like my hand was falling off by the end
Mm,
of the digital. phase project. I was like, this is not making me happy. It makes it easier for me to tweak it. Like if they do request edits, I know I can make those edits in one day. But it just still took me longer than I wanted to.
Yeah.
I gave myself a gift of an iPad Pro, so like a
Mm.
really big iPad with Apple Pen, and I invested in Procreate, which was like $45 that
Mhm.
many years ago, and I was like, that's like such an expensive app, but then it's like that purchase and that app made me so happy. Like overall, like my satisfaction with the phase of like just sketching and creating stuff digitally went from I would say -80 to a
Mm.
+100. Like it just felt easy and natural, and I was just basically drawing. Like if somebody's listening to this and they're like finding themselves in that frustration and like exhaustion and burned out phase where like you're still working on something that is kind of working but not really, just try to find something that works for you. Maybe it's the tool that you need to switch to, and once you do, uh, you will just start feeling more joy in your life. So
Yeah.
that would be my experience and my suggestion to those people who are feeling like that. But I love that you're combining the hand painted and digital way of
Yeah.
creating patterns. I think that really, like, it really shows in your designs. And the
Awesome.
one thing I was going to ask you next, basically, so you work as an art director and you have your Jess Phoenix brand. Do you have an agent, and would you recommend getting one?
So I don't have an agent, or like, I don't have an agent in the way that I think people think of having an agent. Long ago, I was reached out to by like a licensing agency, and we were talking about possibly working together. And I liked the idea of it, but I was turned off by a few things because there are licensing agencies, not all of them do this, but they're like, "Okay,
Mhm.
so if we work together, you pay us like $3,000 a year, and that's for us to like,
Represent you.
present you and make materials and all that stuff." And I get it, which I felt like, okay, if that, if it was a good fit, then sure,
Yeah.
maybe we could figure that out. And then I was having a conversation with them about like, oh, I could totally see you in, and then they listed all these stores that I don't want to be in.
Uh-huh.
And I kept being like, hey, well, what about this other person that you represent? And like these kinds of deals and these kinds
Yeah.
of,
Yeah.
stores. And they're like, maybe someday, but I see us starting really strong with like you just like doing a coloring book and it's
Hmm.
available at this store that I don't
Uh-huh.
like.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just didn't feel like I was being listened to. So ultimately I was
Yeah.
just like, I don't think I want to work with you guys,
Yeah.
unfortunately. I mean, I see other people working with them and having great success, and there's part of me like, oh gosh, like should I have
Yeah.
so I didn't have any like, I haven't had any representation. I have an agent in China.
Huh?
I'm part of a group of like an illustration agency in China because the market is so different there
Yeah.
that they have their own system, even like Prada, if Prada wants to like do something for the Chinese market, they go to a
Mhm.
Chinese agency and, work with them. And I actually did have a deal with them and it was huge. I did
Awesome.
a Lunar New Year like,
Yeah.
display that was in this mall, and it was
That's
amazing seeing
cool.
that stuff. My art,
Yes.
so huge. I mean, I didn't get to see it in person, but
Yeah.
it was it was really great.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that wasn't something like it's like when they reached out, I'm like, "Is this legit?" And then,
Yeah. Exactly.
you have to do a little bit of digging because I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
people are just like, "Hey, let's work together," and,
Yeah.
it might not be a good fit. But then also recently, I'm being represented by a licensing agency
Mhm.
in the UK
Wow.
from the London studio, which that's a newer thing that I've been doing for about a year, but we're still kind of ramping up. We had a meeting actually, pretty recently just talking about how how do we make it easier for me to share new art with them that they can add to
Mhm.
their system and then license it out? And one of the reasons why I really wanted to work with them is because they're just so open and so flexible, and
Mhm.
they don't like my existing licensing accounts. They're not like, oh, well, we'll handle that. Like they're
Yeah.
just like, well, you can keep what you want.
Mhm.
It's completely non-exclusive.
Yes.
They're, they don't require any fees on my end. It's just more like, having
Yeah.
conversations and I mean, they're very focused on the UK market, but they do also
Yeah.
they pitch things to US companies as well.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I liked working with them so far, and
Yeah.
I'm hoping that there'll be a lot of. I mean, they in our meeting they're just like, we're gonna have to figure out a way to like 2026 really
Yeah.
push Jess Phoenix, which sounds good to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, great. So, you're a licensing agency in China that you work with.
Mm.
So what is the name of that one?
Ampersand Global or Ampersand Globe? I think they just
Amber.
I think it's Ampersand Globe. But yeah, I mean, they represent a lot of people. But also when they reached out to me, one
Huh.
of the things, I mean, a good thing to do if you're looking into representation of any kind is look at who they are already representing.
Yes.
And like there were names that I recognized. The work
Uh-huh.
was great. And yeah, I mean with that grouping, I feel like there was still something that I could bring to that group
Mhm.
that felt unique and different.
Yeah.
I know with the London studio, I feel like I bring something very unique to that group.
Uh-huh.
There was another company that I was talking to about, a licensing agency that wanted to represent me, and I looked at the portfolio of who they represent, and I'm just like, there's a lot of people that do colorful floral stuff. So I don't
Uh-huh.
know. It's like, I don't know how I'm gonna stand out.
Yeah, like overlapping styles or
Yeah.
color palettes or like designs
Hmm.
are like similar,
Yeah.
not identical, but
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, that's always a good thing to keep in mind. Like,
mhm.
and also just something to think about in your own work in general. Like, what
Mhm.
is the unique thing that I'm bringing with my artwork? And sometimes that's a really like strong thing that you can,
Mhm.
right away. And sometimes it just takes years and years to really
Yeah.
see what your style is. I know there's so much emphasis like, well, what's my style? I don't know what my style is. And
Yeah.
it'll come. It's like
Yeah.
you just got to do the work over and
Yeah.
over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, for licensing agencies and agents topic, I was going to ask you. So, both of these agencies that are representing your art, basically, that it's a non-exclusive relationship for you, and basically, you can just keep doing that same thing with other licensing agencies, and just kind of distribute your art in that way that doesn't feel like constricting to you and feels like very natural and like doesn't require you to burn lots of calories in terms of finding clients that would love to have your art and their products and stuff. So they use your existing designs, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. And then do they ever like reach out to you and ask you if you could like do something custom for
Yeah.
a client or a company?
Yeah. Yeah. They're
Yeah.
more so with well, I mean, that's essentially what like because Ampersand Globe, they're not really so much about the licensing aspect. It's more
Mhm.
finding, oh, you like this artist, oh, they can do a bespoke piece of artwork that's going to be
Yeah.
used in these ways.
Yeah.
It is an exclusive thing with them where, like, actually the job that I had with them, I was reached
Mhm.
out to by an agency that wanted to work with me, and then I realized that they were affiliated with China, and so
Mhm.
actually in my contract it says, "Oh, if you want to work with a company in China, you have to go
Mhm.
through us." So I actually had to
Yeah.
go through them. It
Uh-huh.
actually gave me less money,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I mean, they're still great. Like it was still really great, but yeah. But yeah, bespoke things for them, but yeah, with the London studio,
Mhm.
I think it's supposed to be like, they want to have a full bank of artwork of mine that they can share with clients, but there have
Mhm.
been things where like, oh, there's this specific shop that we're going to be pitching to, and this is more of their aesthetic. Is there anything that you can, present or
Mhm.
create that could fit along these lines? And so I did
Yeah.
that. I think something got in. It's still like in the early stages, so I'm
Mhm.
still unsure about like how things are going, but I do know that there have been some like, "Yay, you got it." So,
Mhm.
um yeah, we'll see. Like no royalty checks yet, but
Well, I think your approach is probably one of the best ones I have seen so far. Like to break it down real fast. There are websites that basically more platforms that already have sort of they're basically sort of like licensing agencies, um, and you can upload your art and it can be on many products, and like that's the easiest way to get your art out there. Just the downside to that is that you're one artist in 1,000 artists, like on that website, on that platform. Basically, if somebody's shopping for stuff, they just have too many choices, right? And if there's a licensing agency that has handpicked artists based on their portfolios, their like overall work ethic, that's a smaller and easier thing to get into. Like basically, all you need to do as an artist is to have a very strong website and have a very strong Instagram presence. And by very strong, I mean you don't have to have 100,000
yeah.
followers to have a strong Instagram profile. You just need to have a really nice feed. And if you want to get that engagement, then you will have to invest in promoting posts and just getting that stuff out there a little bit more. But that will get you into the right position to be presentable. So, and again, like on your website and in your Instagram, just let them know that you're open to work and you would love to work. My experience has been that if you have your photo on like a photo of you in a professional setting and capacity on each page of your website that says, I'd love to work with you. This is me. You basically improve your chances of working with somebody tremendously because people they love your work, but they also need to love you as a
Mm.
person, and like they like are looking at like, would I want to work with that person? Is she cool? And if they feel like you're approachable and you're professional and like in your everything, then they're willing to like make that first step and pay you the money for the project. And if you ask for more, they're willing to give you more. So it's because of the quality of the work that you bring and the kind of professionalism that comes with it. So I think it's okay to just put yourself a little bit more out there in terms of like you. Yeah, so I think that has worked really well for me and for a lot of artists that I know that kind of like working with clients, like that project type of based stuff. And I love that you're like I, w- I was like a little confused. You said that you don't have a licensing agent, but then you're working with two licensing agencies. So actually, you do.
Yeah, I
So
mean, I guess it's more I think of the traditional like agent as far as like the person that is going out and getting you illustration jobs,
yes,
which that's not something that I have. I feel like,
yeah,
and I mean, yeah, it is it just I know because like there was a time when I thought, "Oh, I think I do want to be represented by an illustration agency,"
yeah,
and I reached out to some and it, didn't end up working out, and that's fine. But yeah, I mean, there's different types. Basically, so yeah, then there are different types of representation that you can have. It's not
yes,
just like, do you have an agent? Do you not have an agent? It's like, well, what do you mean by agent? What are you
yeah.
looking for? I didn't even know that licensing agents were a thing
Mhm.
until I was, talking with that one a while ago,
Mhm.
and then that kind of opened my mind up to like, oh, there are more things. It's not just like
Yeah.
illustration agency. Because that's who I've like as an art director who I've worked with. Like sometimes, oh, I want to work with this artist. Oh, I got to talk to their
Yeah. Agent.
agency,
Yeah.
which can actually be a little like, I don't know, as an art director, like I prefer working
Mhm.
directly with an
Yeah.
artist. And yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So I think this has been so helpful. The licensing world for many artists is sort of like this magical secret land where some artists get to be and hang out, and they're like, "Oh, here's my art. Go, go put it on your products and like sit here and do nothing." Yeah. So it can be like that if you are smart about reading the contracts, because
yes,
the main thing that trips artists up in their licensing journeys is just not knowing what provisions to watch out for and not giving themselves enough credit or not asking for enough credit for their work, and not thinking of themselves as brands.
yeah,
Because most companies love working with artists who are thinking themselves and of themselves as brands and positioning themselves as such, because it elevates their brand as well. Because they're
yeah,
like, "Ooh, look at this. We are working with Jess Phoenix." And yeah. And so it is totally something like you need to be mindful of. And number one thing to watch out for would be exclusive versus non-exclusive relationship. And you're right to inspect books, or like basically get a list of projects or clients that they license your art to. Or like some artists, they just sign the contracts and they're basically on the blind side of like, okay, well, I give permission to use my art and I get $5 a year, and I cannot even go and ask them to verify if this $5 is what I actually uh, am entitled to receive, or if there is more that should be getting. The and also the communication part. Do they need to tell you about every deal that you get? Do they need to inform you officially, or how often? Basically, if they have 100 artists that they are working with, and they have thousands of deals happening each month, so you need to be in their shoes as well. And so you just need to be able to think about it from both perspectives and just decide for yourself, okay, well, I'm comfortable with you telling me what you use my art for, like every 3 months. Just give me a list and give me a list of the licensing fees that I am entitled I'm entitled to, and so I can basically connect the dots. And also, if it doesn't work for you, I mean, if what you see doesn't satisfy you, or if there is something in the overall company or your relationship with them, or the projects or products that they use your art on, you need to be able to get out of that relationship. So the cancellation and the termination, I think, is one of the main things that artists overlook the most, because they're just so happy to get the, the
yeah,
agreement. They're like, yay! Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Now, from the
yeah.
beginning, I was very like always looking at, especially, I didn't realize how many contracts are just like, okay, so the copyright is ours. And I'm like, no, no,
Yeah.
I don't give my copyright unless I have to, unless it's that like valuable to me. Like the exchange of money needs to be
Yes.
significant if
Yeah.
you relinquish your copyright. I and also, like, I found there are ways that companies can be flexible on that. Like, I negotiated a limited copyright deal with an
Hmm.
ongoing client, and basically it was the fact that, like, yes, you own the copyright of this piece of artwork that you commissioned from me in this specific colorway, in this specific composition, and
Yeah.
for this use. So, hey, this card, as it is, as I've presented it to you, you own that. But if I want to take that artwork and like recolor it or rejigger it or something like that, it's mine.
Yes.
So, I
That's
mean, and some
genius.
people just don't
Yes.
realize that there are, I mean, you have to figure it out. And that's not something that I think a lot of people have even like thought of as an option. It's not
Yeah.
common, kind of like invented it as a way to be like, well, I want to work with you, but I don't like, because with so
Uh-huh.
much of my artwork, I can draw a flower and then take that flower and put it in something else and make a whole pattern
Yes.
from it. And so
Yeah.
I see every little flower and leaf and, bud branch that I create as like a puzzle piece that I can take that puzzle piece and use it somewhere else. And it can't just be like, oh, you own that puzzle piece now?
Yes, exactly. And, and that's what they call intellectual property asset.
Hmm.
Basically, those are your assets and you own them. And like even with commission artwork, just like you said, you don't have to surrender your copyright. Like even though they paid you the money to create this physical piece of art for them, you still can own the digital images of it that you took, or the digital rendering that you have created, unless they ask for it and they are willing to pay for it extra. You don't have to surrender it. Like there is no reason to surrender um, those rights or those assets, and and you can keep using them, reusing them, just like you said. Yeah. So I am just so thankful to you for being here with me and for just giving us so much valuable advice. And I'm just so thrilled to finally have this conversation with you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It
thank
was
you
a
so much.
while to try to figure out meeting out.
Yeah,
And I'm glad we
I
were able to
know.
finally do it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And I'm wishing you happy holidays.
Happy
And
holidays to you.
yes, thank you so much.